Hello, hello. How's it going? Good to see you. Bubble, moderator Bubble. Good evening to you, sir, or good morning. Good morning for you. And good evening to Jenna. Dark Angel, how are you? How's your day been? Glad to see you. I just about burned my tongue on my tea, so that was great. Stunt Papa. Hey buddy, how are you doing tonight? I'm not too bad, other than almost burning my tongue. I'm wearing one of my favorite new shirts I got for Christmas. Let me show you, everybody. Yay, sports. Go team. Yep. In this house, my wife is the sports person. I'm just like, yay, go team. Usually, who do we want to win? Is the question I'm asking. Alright, good. Let me know how it goes. I'll be over here. The local sporting squadron, that's who. Well, obviously. And I'm in Hawkeye country, so go Hawkeyes. That's college sports, just in case you needed that reference. Because, yay, sports. Oh, the book is buried. Let me get the book. Here it is. Alright, moving my keyboard out of the way so I don't accidentally type anything or oops, you know, all that good stuff. Although, I do want to do one thing, because it's necessary, okay? I need to make sure that everybody knows about this guy, 007. He's a good friend of mine. He's an Aussie, which makes him, you know, that much better anyway. And he's just a fun-loving kind of guy, you know? He's down to earth. You can't go wrong with him. So, and for those that want to get in on the puzzle, if you type !puzzle, it is up and running. Feel free to jump in and get started if you would like. That should be a fun one. So yeah, I can't believe I scrambled to get on stream tonight. I was giving my kiddo a bath, and then I looked down and it was 10 to 7. And I was like, holy crap. Hick says, hi, listening and working on my project. I'll be here though. Fantastic. I'm always glad you're here, Hicks. You are a beacon of support. Not just for the stream, but for me. So, I'm always happy you're here. And I hope your project's going well. Okay. We're also going to do Stream Raiders tonight. So let me... I don't know why it's not showing up, though. It's a bit unusual. It's like right here. Let me, maybe that will... Whoa, that's big. Okay. Let's slim you down for size. Jeepers. Okay, there we go. That's better. Let's do some Stream Raiders. We are on a mystery match here. Challenge level unknown. Rewards are unknown. Enemies unknown. except for that one, a bat. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. Just place whatever the heck you want. Here's a battle plan. Boom. Doesn't get much simpler than that. Flood the field if you wish. Or don't. That is your prerogative. Oh, thank you. Well, Hicks, it's true. It is true. Hicks and I know each other IRL, and she is near and dear to me, so if you mess with her, you mess with me. You know what I mean? Did you hear that knuckle crack? That means I'm serious. In other news, before we start reading tonight, I have some things to unbox. Gemma! Hi, puzzle pieces. Yes, exclamation point puzzle will get you into the puzzle. But I had some stuff show up in the mail yesterday. It's not all of everything I ordered, but it's a start. So I thought I would, get them out in front of you all so that we can see them all together at the same time. So I think, based on the size of this and its flatness, that these are the stickers, which I sure hope so. Aranel's here. Hi, Aranel. You're just in time. Man, these turned out really good. Check out these stickers. The green screen is messing with it a little bit because of the colors. But they're a pretty good size. I mean, here's my head for reference. They're a half head tall. So yeah, I ordered 2 for myself. I'm not sure where I'm gonna put them yet, but they're here. So those are the stickers. So that's good. Yay! Let me put those over here for safekeeping, and then I'll recycle you. And then this guy says, handle with care, fragile. So I'm assuming there's a mug inside of here. I have scissors. So I'm going to carefully start snipping. I'm kind of glad not everything showed up at the same time, because that means I get to do another unboxing later when other stuff shows up. So that's exciting. Ugh. Well, they did a good job of packaging this, I'll tell you that much. Blue Wave, hello. Come on, okay. More stuff to recycle. Open sesame. Jeez. If this mug is damaged, I'm gonna be shocked considering how it was packaged. Jeepers. Alright, needs some cleaning, obviously, because it was in a couple of cardboard boxes and whatnot. But man, this is adorable. Check this out, guys. Guys and girls. So I did this design so that it doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed. If you're right-handed, you see hype. If you're left-handed, you see the book. Or sitting on a book. So yeah. I'm digging this. I can't wait to drink something out of this. Probably tea. Which I have right here. Which reminds me. So I'm going to put my stickers in here so I don't lose my stickers. I can't wait to get the t-shirt. I'm super excited about that. I'm going to wear the crap out of the t-shirt. Anyway. So I went to a doctor's appointment today, specifically cardiology. Because I had some issues, like I wasn't able... Like I went up one flight of stairs and I was completely winded, out of breath, couldn't talk, had intense chest pain, shot into my shoulder, down through my arm. It sucked. But what we've basically figured out, or assumed at this point, safely assumed I should say, is that the incidents that I was enduring is probably because I'm still not over having COVID. I'm still having symptoms. So I was told to rest and take it easy. So we'll see how long that lasts. You got your mug yesterday? Yes. I assumed it wasn't damaged or anything. And that sucks. Hope you heal up quickly. Thank you, Stunt Papa. It does suck. But to help me, we just purchased the Oculus Quest 2, and it came in a couple days ago. So we're just starting to kind of figure stuff out and try it out. And I gotta tell you, it's a lot of fun. So, beyond doing, reading books on stream and playing the truck simulator, I will also be playing with the VR headset. So, looking forward to that. Indeed I am. Okay. Alright, so, we've got the puzzle, exclamation point puzzle. It is ready. Looks like y'all are getting in on it. iBlueWave is in there, Gem is in there. I'm in there, but just as a spectator. We got Stream Raiders, free game. Remember that, it's a free game. And now, we have a good book. We are on chapter 15, which is page 190. And for those that would like to look at this online for themselves, there is the link. And I feel terrible. I forgot to do a write-up of the last two chapters that we read. A reading recap. I forgot to do one, and I'm ashamed. But for memory, I can tell you that Jane and Robert were both helping out at the Christmas party. This is towards the end of the two chapters that we read. And there was a huge announcement, which I think we all saw coming. There was an engagement at the party, which was why everyone was so just smitten. So, and then after the engagement, a few people left, and eventually everybody left. And Robert and Jane did some of the cleanup, started to get things tidy up again. And Jane was basically left going, boy, I hope the rest of my break doesn't suck. And also, gee whiz, Robert, how do you feel about me? Because Robert was being kind of flirtatious. He was winking and all that kind of stuff. So Jenna says, second book releasing June of this year. Ooh. Do we have a title for that book yet? Is it Pixie Dust 2? Is it more Pixie Dust? Is it... I don't know. I'm running out of Pixie ideas. But do you have a title for us? Can we know the title? Or is the title yet to be, revealed? Because sometimes I know I've written stuff and the title has come way later. Sometimes the title is the first thing I have, and then the story comes. So it's called Dragon Scales. Now, is book 2 a continuation of this book, or is it just another book? Because Dragon Scales, unless we're gonna meet a dragon, which I don't think we are unless something crazy happens, I'm guessing it's just a second book in your writing, not Pixie Dust Part 2 kind of thing. If I'm making any sense at all. Alright. While you do that, Book 2 is a continuation. Okay, alright. I guess we'll find out. So let's get into it. We are on Chapter 15. And it looks like we're going to learn more about Robert, because Chapter 15 is called Robert's Story. So here we go. My holiday break proceeded as it had begun. Each day, I was up early doing chores, some of which consisted of helping Robert in the barn. I didn't mention the Christmas party. Robert was my only friend at the manor, and I didn't want our friendship to end over a misunderstanding. All I knew is that I loved the days that I was sent to the barn. I enjoyed Robert's company and conversation. He made my awful days better. And if the title's an indication, there will be dragons. No way. Stop it. Just kidding. Today, I was the most hopeful I had been during the Christmas break. Dr. Tweedle would show up at midnight this New Year's Eve and take me back to the Jelf Academy if he'd been able to convince the government officials that I should stay. If Dr. Tweedle came for me, it was going to be the best New Year's Eve I had ever experienced. Marie had assigned me to the barn, and I tried not to show her how happy I was. Robert was busy brushing the horses when I entered. I picked up a curry comb and... Hold on. Okay. I picked up a curry comb and joined him. "Hello, Jane. You look happier today," Robert commented. "Yes, I am," I replied. "Dr. Tweedle is supposed to come at midnight to take me back to the Jelf Academy." "Dr. Tweedle?" Robert's eyebrows rose. "Yes, he's the headmaster of the Jelf Academy," I replied. "Wow, you must be very special, Jane, if the headmaster of your school is coming to pick you up," Robert said, and he sounded doubtful. "I know it seems a bit odd, but he knows that I'm an orphan and that Marie wouldn't want to be bothered with taking me. Plus, my mother went to Jelf Academy, and he knew her very well. Dr. Tweedle believes that I was destined to attend," I explained. "I never knew your mother attended the school," Robert said. "I thought it was something..."
"Don't look now, Atkinson, but you have someone new following you."
"Anime, what's up? Welcome in. I didn't expect to see you here. Thanks for stopping by, and thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Hey, if you do exclamation point puzzle, there is a puzzle going on. If you do exclamation SR, you can get into Stream Raiders if you want. But welcome. Glad to see you. Aaron L., can you please do a shout out for anime? Thank you so much. "I never knew your mother attended the school," Robert said. "I thought it was something Marie was making you do. It mustn't be so bad if your mother would have wanted to go." "I should have explained it better. I wasn't lying when I said it was my choice to attend. I really enjoy it there, Robert. So far, it has been the best experience of my life. So many people knew my mother, and I found out more about her." When did your mother pass away? Robert asked. You've never talked about her before. She passed away when I was about a year old. I don't remember much about her, but my father said she was wonderful. He used to tell me I looked just like her. My mother gave up a lot of things because she loved him so much, I said, sadly. How did she pass away? He asked. I paused. How could I tell him that the WASP and why they had murdered her? If I did that, then I would have to explain the magical world. Look, I understand if you don't want to talk about it. I shouldn't have asked. Robert started. We continued cleaning in silence for a while when Robert spoke again. I'm really sorry, Jane. I didn't mean to pry. I don't remember my parents much either. Did they pass away while you were young, too? No. I hope they are still alive. When I was 6 years old, my mother and I were traveling on a crowded street. I don't remember, but I think my parents were visiting some friends of theirs. So, we were in a different town. I was holding her hand as she pulled me through the crowd toward our destination. We had been shopping that day, and as a young boy, I was very tired. I remember she was dragging me, and I was shuffling my feet with each step. People were all around me. My mother's hand was like my life preserver, the sea of people. From every angle, we were shoved and jostled by the crowd. It was very hard to keep up. Before I knew it, my hand slipped from hers, and I was pushed in a different direction. The last thing I heard my mother say was my name as we drifted away from each other. I saw her auburn hair drift away into the crowd. That's the last image I have of her, Robert said. I'm so sorry, Robert, I replied. My head hung in sadness. I spent my first night sleeping in the gutter on the street, crying for her to come back to me. Mr. Wicker found me the next day and brought me back to his house. I should have been grateful. I would have died in the street. He fed me and clothed me, but then the beatings began. If I didn't work hard enough, I was beaten. If I talked, I was beaten. I lived my life in silence, desperate to be back with my parents again. I was only 6 years old, and I had no way to find them. Mr. Wicker kept a constant watch on me and made me work until I almost passed out. I endured this for 11 years. For the most part, I'm glad Mr. Wicker sold me to Marie. She rarely comes to the barn and doesn't beat me. The only time she talks to me is when I have to saddle her horse or prepare a carriage. Living in this barn is an improvement compared to my old life, Robert said. Do you ever think about finding them? Now that you're away from Mr. Wicker, don't you want to leave? I asked hesitantly. I didn't want him to leave, but I wanted him to be happy. Even if I had to lose my only friend in this awful place, I would be happy to know he was with his family again. I don't have any money, Jane. Marie only gives me food. Plus, I don't even know where to start. All I have from my family is my father's ring. I remember wanting to wear it that day, and since it didn't fit my finger, my mother put it on this chain. Robert pulled the ring out from underneath his shirt. It was big and gold, and on the front of the ring was a symbol with lions on it. I assumed it was a family crest. I know that my last name is Lyons. The name is engraved here on the family crest. From what I can recall, I believe my father's name was Gabriel. I wouldn't even know how to start looking for him. Robert replied. At least you have something. Your family might still be alive, and you can rejoin them, I said excitedly. Yes, but as I said, I need money, which seems impossible to obtain. It'll be another holiday alone, another year that I can mark off as being an orphan, Robert said sadly. Don't be sad, Robert, I said, touching his shoulder. You're not alone. I'm your friend, and I understand what it's like to be alone. I was alone until you came here. Yes, and I'm alone when you're gone, he replied. Now I knew why he looked so sad. I might be returning to the Jelf Academy, and he wouldn't see me as often. It'll be okay, Robert. I'm only gone for a week at a time. Then I'll be back, shoveling manure beside you. I tried to smile. He brightened a little and then nodded his head. I don't know, Jane. But when you are here, the work seems to go faster. I blushed, hoping he didn't notice. One day, Robert, I know you will find your family. He shrugged his shoulders, picking up the shovel. Maybe someday in the future I will. We continued our work side by side. I told Robert what I remembered about my father. Excuse me, gosh. Throat's getting the better of me. I didn't mention my mother again. Even though the work was dirty, I was happy to be in the barn with Robert for most of the day. It was heartbreaking when I had to return to the manor house. Robert surprised me by hugging me goodbye and saying he couldn't wait for my return next week. As I trudged up the hill to the manor house, I wrapped my arms around myself to combat the chill. It had grown cold in the last week, and more snow had fallen. I didn't really have heavy clothes for the winter. The barn had been warm with all the horses inside, but after the physical labor, the wind cut through me. My teeth were chattering, and it was a relief to finally get inside the manor house. A warm fire was burning in the kitchen, as Ellen was bustling around making dinner. Her hair was neatly under her bonnet, and she didn't look as frazzled today. I even thought I heard her humming. There you are, she said in a politer tone than she normally used with me. You should head upstairs because Marie will be looking for you, she warned. What was going on? Ellen rarely ever warned me about Marie. I gave her a questioning look. Only servants for dinner tonight, she said cheerily. Marie and her brood are going out for the evening to Mr. Doyle's house for a New Year's celebration. Emily's new fiancé is perfect for her. They're two devious snakes, Ellen mumbled. I almost laughed at her terminology. Ellen would probably be fired if Marie heard her say such things. I left the kitchen in a hurry, because if Marie and her family were going out, they'd probably need me to help them get ready. I entered Emily's room first, figuring she would want and need most of my attention. Emily was deep in her closet, throwing dress after dress over her shoulder. Where's my green winter dress? she screamed. "Jane!" Emily flew out of her closet in a rage. She seemed taken aback to see me in her room. "It's about time. Get in my closet and find my green dress. Mr. Doyle likes when I wear green." Without saying a word, I calmly walked past her and into the walk-in closet. I began my search for the dress, and after 3 minutes, I found it. Stepping over the mess on the floor, I presented it to her and helped her into it. After they left, it would be my job to clean up her closet. What would she do if I just left her room like this? I'd be in serious trouble when they returned, but a smile crept across my face as I imagined Emily finding a room just the way she had left it. "I need my hair fixed. I need to look better than my best. I must be flawless for Mr. Doyle. Mrs. Emily Doyle. Sounds lovely, doesn't it?" She went on in her annoying voice. "I know you're jealous, Jane. Then again, you've always wanted to be like me, haven't you? I'm beautiful, smart, and engaged to one of the richest men in the world." I wanted to choke her for her arrogance, but I stayed quiet as I braided her hair. Why did she always brag and insist on me being jealous? "I almost feel sorry for you. Not this year, but the spring after, I will be married. I'll have my own set of servants to take care of me, and I won't have to constantly wait on you. You'll be left here to rot with my mother while I become queen of the Doyle mansion. I doubt you'll ever get married. Who would want you? When mother dies, maybe I'll take pity on you and put a roof over your head. I wouldn't count on schooling from me if I were you." Emily rattled on. Emily lived in her own fantasy world. She was desperate to live like a queen and have power over her servants. Perhaps it would happen, but I knew that running a household was difficult. Even though Marie was constantly in control, she didn't seem to have much leisure time. Let's see if my tea is cooled down enough, because I need it. Well, y'all are doing good on that puzzle. Keep going. "Jane, are you listening to me? I know your head is empty, but can you please try? I want my new rouge on my cheeks. If I have to repeat myself, I think I'll go crazy," Emily said nastily. I snapped out of my thoughts and pulled the powder out of Emily's vanity. She sat on the stool, face tilted backward, waiting on me to do as she asked. Slowly, I undid the lid and grabbed the tiny brush. Emily sighed and chuckled a little. "This is exactly how I pictured my life. You at my beck and call, and with me a big diamond on my finger." She indicated the sparkling ring on her left hand. The ring was definitely hard to miss. The diamond covered most of her finger. Drake Doyle was, without a doubt, a rich man. The diamond was cut in a princess style, which had to be a few carats, and the band was bright gold. I wondered how extravagant the wedding ring was going to be. I didn't make eye contact with her as I dipped the brush into the jar. Rage was building in me, and I had to keep control. I was tempted to spill some of the powder on her dress and ruin it. My magic was so hard to control, but I couldn't let it escape me. I took a deep breath as I leaned over Emily to apply the blush. When Emily's cheek looked rosy, I put down the brush. As I tried to screw the lid on the blush, I accidentally dropped it. My mind was so clouded with anger that I wasn't fast enough to catch it with my magic. The powder hit the hardwood floor with a bang as glass and powder flew everywhere. Emily turned around so fast, her eyes blazing with anger. I dropped to my knees and began picking up the shattered pieces. I put the pieces in the wastebasket that was located under her vanity. I hurried into her private bath to get some damp towels to clean up the mess. While I was cleaning up my mistake, Emily was yelling at me. "Fool! How could you be so stupid? That was my new jar. Why do you have to ruin everything? Just because your hideous cheekbones will never have rouge doesn't mean you can ruin my things." She's very lovely. I tried to tune her out as I went about scrubbing the floor, but her voice raised a few octaves as if she knew I wasn't listening. "You are the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You don't know how to do anything right. You make a mess out of everything. Why your father ever loved you is unknown to me. I've heard you are like your mother. Two aberrations with strange violet eyes," Emily shouted at the top of her lungs. Even though Emily had insulted my mother and me, my pride rose as I was compared to her. I hope I was like my mother, even if it meant being unnatural in Emily's eyes. I hoped everything about me was like her, because she had been an amazing pixie. I was interrupted from my thoughts by a sharp voice. "What is going on in here?" Marie stood in the doorway of Emily's room, her eyes on me. "Jane dropped my new jar of rouge, and it broke on the floor," Emily wailed, giving her mother tearful eyes as if she had just lost a very close friend. "Jane, come to my room as soon as you clean up the mess you created," Marie demanded. "Don't even think about wasting time." She acted like I always did things slowly, but most of the time she was the reason it took me so long to do anything. She always asked me to do things a second or third time when they were perfect the first time. I rushed to clean the floor, hoping that I would be able to handle anything Marie punished me with. Emily stood gazing down at me with a satisfied smirk on her face. She always had that look on her face when I got yelled at. I scrubbed as hard as I could, and when I finished, I dragged myself to my feet. With a determined glare, I headed towards Marie's room. Marie was sitting straight in her vanity chair, staring coldly into the mirror. She saw me enter from the reflection, but she didn't turn around. I paused in the doorway, unsure of what to do. "Axion, welcome in, sir. How are you? How's things going? How's your wife? How's she doing?" "Come here and put my necklace on," she demanded. I crossed the room nervously. She always had a way of acting calmly before she punished me. My fingers shook as I took the necklace from her. It was a string of beautiful pearls, some of which were pink in color. They were so lovely, and I knew they were very expensive. When I had fastened it around her neck, I stepped back, waiting for her to scold me. Marie rose from her vanity. Her regal figure stood out in her long in her long black dress that had a white sash around the waistline. Her spine was like steel as she turned to face me. Why does it seem like every time I turn around, you are in the middle of doing something wrong? I hung my head, unsure of what to say. It didn't matter what she found me doing. To her, it would always be wrong. Now you listen. I don't want any more nonsense from you. Your father stuck me in this predicament. Unfortunately, you're my responsibility. As of this moment, I don't want to see any more mistakes. You will bow your head and do as you're told, or so help me God, I will throw you out into the cold. One more step over the line, and that school of yours will be a thing of the past. Emily is now engaged and has come into womanhood. Snide comments from you will not be tolerated, and she has every right to punish you as she sees fit. You are our servant, Jane, because I had no choice. If anything, you should be grateful for my kindness. Just remember that I don't have to keep you here or send you to any school. You are a burden to us, Jane. How is your health? It's getting there. Apparently I'm still recovering from COVID, so I'm doing my best to take it easy. Whatever that means. I kept my head down and didn't want to look at her. I hated her and her offspring. I kept breathing deeply to control my emotions. I was tired of being told I was worthless. I don't want to have this lecture again. Go into Preston's room and make sure he is ready to leave soon. Remember, no more problems. Marie smirked as she wagged her finger. My shoulders sagged as I left the room. Since I did everything wrong, it might be 5 minutes before I was thrown from this house, if Marie was true to her word. I shuffled down the hall to Preston's room, wondering what kind of chaos I would find. I gave 2 sharp knocks on the door before I entered. Preston was on the floor in his best suit, playing with something in the corner. His clothes were covered with dust and lint, and I knew I would have to tackle that situation before he left the house. Preston, I proceeded slowly, not knowing how he would react. Could you please get off the floor? Soon you'll be on your way to a New Year's Eve party. At first, Preston didn't look at me or attempt to get up from the floor. And if Preston didn't get ready, his actions would be my fault. I began mentally packing what few items I owned. Suddenly, to my relief, Preston stood up and turned to face me. He was holding something in his hand, but I couldn't tell what it was. Come on, Preston, I almost whispered. Let's clean you up and get ready for Mr. Doyle's party. It was odd how Preston kept staring at me with a smirk on his face. Deciding to ignore him for the moment, I searched the top drawer of his armoire for another pair of pants. My hand clasped around a matching pair, and I pulled them from the drawer. Preston watched me as I unfolded them and held them out. You'll have to change out of those pants, I narrated just because he was staring at me. When I stepped closer to him, Preston finally said something. I have a present for you, Jane. This startled me, and I knew he was up to something. "Oh, really, Preston? Well, that's lovely, but you really need to get ready because your mother will be prepared to go soon," I replied. I stepped closer to him, and his smile widened. He shifted what he was holding in his hand and quickly unveiled my present. "Here, Jane. It reminded me of you." I had to control myself so I wouldn't scream. Dangling between his thumb and forefinger was a dead rat, which he was holding by the tail. Lovely. "My God, where did you get that?" I had been so shocked I almost dropped the pants. "I killed it," he replied nonchalantly, with that wicked grin on his face. He tossed it toward me, and I had to jump back to keep it from hitting me. He laughed maliciously. "Preston, I think it's time to get ready," I said, trying to control my voice. The main thing on my mind was getting Preston ready and having the family sent off to the party, so I could dispose of the thing before Marie saw it. Thankfully, Preston didn't give me any trouble, and in 5 minutes, he changed his pants. I quickly ushered him down to the front hall where Marie and Emily were already waiting. "Make sure you clean this place up while we're gone," Marie demanded. "Yes, ma'am," I replied. "I won't be returning to school until midnight." I figured I should remind her in case she had forgotten. Her nose turned upward at this statement, seeming disgusted. "Oh, I forgot about your stupid school. We won't be home to escort you back to school, so you'll have to return tomorrow," she said matter-of-factly. "Someone's coming to get me, as usual," I said slowly. It was ridiculous of Marie to claim she couldn't take me back to school. She had never taken me to the Jelf Academy, and I wasn't even sure she could. "Midnight is such an odd hour, and especially on New Year's Eve," Marie said suspiciously, as her face scrunched up again. "The arrangements have been made, none of which were my decision. I'll be sure to leave the house in absolutely perfect condition." Marie looked defeated, as if she were being cheated out of another day of my servitude. Graciously, Marie turned her head to leave. It was obvious she was done discussing the matter. "Very well, Jane. Try to have a nice week at that ridiculous school. But just be prepared for strenuous work when you get back. I'm sure we'll need to keep the house orderly, since Emily is newly engaged. Without a doubt. Many visitors will be stopping by to pay their congratulations," Marie smirked. Emily had a scowl. I think that's supposed to be scowl. Emily had a scowl on her face as she observed our exchange. Preston was fidgeting where he stood, the devious wheels in his head probably turning. I nodded toward Marie to show her I understood, that I would be working twice as hard. "Come along, children, or else we'll be late for our wonderful party," Marie said, stressing the word wonderful. Preston scampered out the door first, with Emily behind him, her arms crossed in irritation. As Marie closed the door, I could have sworn I heard Emily say, "Honestly, Mother, I don't even know why you send her to school." I smiled at the closed door and then decided it was best to start working upstairs. Tea break. Oh, I almost forgot. We have Stream Raiders to do. Alright. Myself, Gemma, and Instagram user 2020. I was like, what name is that? Alright, well. This should be pretty straightforward. First one there wins. Alright. There you go. Boom. Good job. That was difficult. If anyone watches Bluey, you'll understand that line. Ooh, another mystery battle. Let's do it. I do love a good mystery. Alright, there we go. How's the puzzle looking? Ooh, it's almost done. Good job, everybody. My first task would be disposing of the dead rat. The whole incident had disturbed me. How had Preston killed the rat? I didn't even want to know where he had found it in the first place. My stomach churned at the thought of it lying on the carpet in his room. I retrieved a bag from the kitchen and slowly ascended the stairs. I don't know why, but I crept toward Preston's room as if I would find the thing alive. I knew it wasn't possible, because as Preston changed, the rat had lain motionless. When I peered around the corner into his room, I could make out the grey lump of fur lying where Preston had thrown it. I felt nauseous as I entered the room, but I forced myself to approach it. It looked so pitiful lying there, twisted on the rug. After inspection, it became clear that Preston had snapped its neck. But as I continued to stare, I saw other marks too. A sickness welled up inside me as I realized that Preston had tortured the poor creature before sentencing it to a final end. How could he do such a thing? I didn't want to touch the rat with my bare hands, so I opened the bag and focused on levitating it. The lifeless body lifted off the rug and plunked into the bag. I had to fight off a sick stomach as I wrapped up the bag and prepared to take it outside. Holding the bag out from my body, I exited Preston's room and climbed down the stairs. I decided to dispose of the animal by throwing it with the other garbage kept on the side of the barn. It was already dark outside when I crossed the property, and I couldn't cross my arms against the cold because of the bag. I made my way to the barn and deposited the dead rat with a shudder. I shivered from the cold, and when I opened the front door, I welcomed the heat. The next task I had to tackle was reorganizing Emily's closet. Slowly, I climbed the steps, then sighed when I got to Emily's room. It was messier than I thought. With Marie gone, I decided to use the quick complete charm. Within 20 to 30 minutes, I had Emily's room back to perfection. Very satisfied with my work, I went around the rest of the house making sure everything was in top shape. Hydrate. Thank you so much. Cheers to you, Higgs. Lovely. After I had finished my chores, I climbed the steep attic steps. It was chilly here since the harsh wind worked its way through the cracks in the roof. My teeth chattered as I gathered my school supplies. I hoped that soon I would see Josefina and Miguel. I couldn't wait to tell them about Emily's engagement and how awful Marie was. I prayed that Dr. Tweedle would be knocking at my door, and I would be taken away to the world I belonged to. The thought of expulsion made my stomach hurt. Good job, everybody. That is one impressive looking mountainscape there. Tresim di Leverdo in Italy. Good job. Well done. Well done indeed. Whoa, I didn't want to do that. Alright, give me just a moment and I'll find another one for you to do. How's that sound? Let's see. It'll cause a new code, so don't worry about the code just yet. So that was the featured puzzle. So now let's take a different approach, shall we? How about... Aranel, you were the last one to type. Would you like a water setting or a nighttime sky land type of setting? They're both pretty good, but the nighttime one seems particularly interesting. You want the water setting? Alright. Water it is. Water, water, everywhere. Not a drop to drink. Create game link. Copy link. I'm just going to paste the link myself manually. There it is. Okay. And then if you give me just a moment, I will update the command. That way, if anyone else wants to join it, you can. Okay. The puzzle link has now been reset. So, there we go. Anyone can use it now going forward. Good deal. Alright, back to the book. We are very close to being done with this chapter. There's like a page left. Where was I? Ah, yes. I prayed that Dr. Tweedle would be I prayed that Dr. Tweedle would be knocking at my door, and I would be taken away to the world I belonged. The thought of expulsion made my stomach hurt. Once I had my belongings packed, I moved around the attic and explored old things I had snuck up here many years ago. Several articles of clothing felt like pixie material, and when I searched even deeper, I found a wallet in one of the coat pockets. I had never thought to search my mother's belongings. Inside the wallet, I was startled to find several $100s in pixie money, plus several human bills as well. I was surprised that my mother had stowed it in a coat pocket. It was lucky of me to have snuck this particular coat into the attic. If I would have found this wallet earlier, I might have thrown the money away, having no idea what it meant. Since the coat seemed to be made out of pixie material, I slipped it on. It fit me perfectly, and was nice and warm. This coat would be perfect for when I had to cross the grounds of the Jelf Academy. I decided to store the wallet with the money in a secret compartment of my Pixie Dust case, where it would be safe. With every last hope, I trudged down all the stairs and sat on the steps in the great hall. My eyes stayed focused on the grandfather clock, anticipating the stroke of midnight. And that concludes chapter 15. So there we go. I love my hot tea. It's so yummy. Alright, so we have a few lovely people in here, and I want to make sure they get shouted out. So, as you guys know me well enough, I am a proud member of the Platinum Squad, and so is Anime. So, a lot of people in the Plat Squad like to play scary games. And that's no different for Anime here. Last seen playing Ghost Exile. That seems like the new spook on the block. Everyone seems to be drawn to that one. Although I hear it's pretty good. Axion Stalker, who was joined us a little while ago, he is also part of the Plat Squad, so let me make sure I get him a shout out as well. Just making sure I spell everything properly. There we go, nailed it. Ooh, last seen playing Friday the 13th. Interesting. And of course, our book winner, recent book winner, and the books did arrive, thank God. Gemma, 15, what were you playing? Hunt Showdown, another popular one. Enjoying the book, Dark Angel, thank you, and the reading, Axon, thank you as well. Absolutely. Hopefully my deep, gravelly voice adds a little character, because it's not usually this deep. I also want to give a shout out to someone else that I haven't seen too often lately, but I still think of, and I still remember her. She's a good, decent human being. Boston. I see you, Boston. I see you. So yeah. Oh, and of course, Stunt Papa's here, so let me give Stunt Mama a shout out, who is also playing Ghost Exile. Dum dum dum. So there you go. Lots of cool people. Stunt Mama is also part of the Plat Squad, so lots of Plat Squad people showing up tonight. And for those of you that haven't heard the news, I want to make sure you hear it directly from me. Aranel, our wonderful mod, who is doing a puzzle right now, is a proud member of the USG. She just joined us recently. She did it, and I can't type. So, I know we've said it elsewhere, but Aranel, from myself, on behalf of Aaron, the other co-founder, welcome to the USG. And, speaking of new, we're going to have a new member join us. Mr. Carrington. He will be joining the USG here very soon. He's already spoken to me about it. He has agreed. He's in. He wants to do it. So, fantastico. He's also a reading streamer. So once he's officially in and we've got all the nuances figured out, I will add him to my list. So if you are on a phone, you can click on my name to go to my About page. If you are on a computer, you can just scroll down. But in the About section, among other things, there is a list of USG members. Any one of those will be a good fit if you are looking for somebody to go listen to that reads a book. And not all of them read all the time. Sometimes you'll see people playing games. For example, Aaron and I have recently started up with the ATS, American Truck Simulator. I've been playing a lot of that on my free time, so it's a great little game. Love it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. And Stunt Papa also started playing it too, so. Stunt Papa, how are you enjoying the game? You're updating it and playing it in a few minutes. Awesome. Are you, how far along level-wise are you? Do you have a nice little savings account for yourself? Hopefully you've been making some good bank. I'm enjoying it almost. I am almost level 5, about 50k saved. Awesome. Buying a truck soon, hopefully. What I would recommend is I would get to about 200k and then start thinking about buying a truck. Only because when you get to 200k, you'll have leveled up quite a bit by then, and you'll have access to more truck options, and you'll also have extra cash to make some modifications to your truck. The higher level you are, the better the truck, basically. So that's good advice. I only give out good advice, Stunt Papa. Come on now. This is look who you're talking to, okay? All right. Just checking to see how long chapter 16 is so I can judge how much time. So let's see, chapter 16 is 204. That's about 10 pages, so we're not too bad. Alright, so let's get into chapter 16, titled New Year's Eve. Let's find out if she goes back to school. Oh, hot tea. The clock bonged its deep chime 12 times, and I jumped at the noise. A loud knock at the door soon followed. My stomach leapt in excitement. I threw open the door to find Dr. Tweedle clad in a wool trench coat that came down to his mid-calves. "Happy New Year, Jane. Are you ready to go?" he asked. "Yes, more than ever," I exclaimed, picking up my suitcase. I closed the door behind me and stepped outside into the chilly air. After reviewing the details of the incident with the fire charm, the government officials have decided to give you a second chance. They base this decision on the progress you have made so far in your classes. Unfortunately, they're not entirely convinced that you should be enrolled at the academy. If you can finish the rest of the year with good academic progress and no other incidents, they could change their minds. "Thank you, Dr. Tweedle. I was so nervous that you wouldn't come." "I know you didn't receive that coat as a Christmas present," Dr. Tweedle said, looking at my mother's coat. "Marie had a change of heart over Christmas break." Never mind, that was let's rewind. Marie had a change of heart over Christmas break, I said sarcastically. Where would Marie get a coat made out of pixie material? Dr. Tweedle chuckled. I found it in the attic with a few of my mother's old things. Marie didn't throw away. I told him as we both settled in the carriage. I hope that your Christmas was good. How were the past few weeks? Dr. Tweedle asked. I looked down at the floor of the carriage instead of answering. Dr. Tweedle must have sensed that I didn't want to talk about it, so he didn't say anything else as he dug the teleporting charm out of his coat pocket. I didn't want Dr. Tweedle to know the whole truth about my life here. I clung to the carriage, and before I knew it, we were in the meadow, awaiting the cloud to drop from the sky. You haven't answered my question, Jane, Dr. Tweedle pressed after a few moments. Marie threw a huge Christmas party with many guests. It was a lovely grand event, I stated. Oh, well, I'm sure that was wonderful. How nice that you got to attend, Dr. Tweedle replied. I got to serve drinks and clean up afterward. I also worked hard for days before the party, I said, dully, forcing the words from my mouth. Why would he think that I would attend the party as a guest? I'm sorry, Jane. I've never known anyone to be treated so cruelly by their family. I'm sorry, I assumed. Knowing your mother as well as I did, it's hard to believe that her daughter wasn't brought up by someone as kind as she was, Dr. Tweedle replied sympathetically. I wish there was something I could do. Don't worry, Dr. Tweedle. I'm okay, I lied. I don't consider Marie or her children family anyway. I tried smiling at him. Dr. Tweedle gave me a worried look, almost as if he could see right through my lie. Before he could reply, the cloud had descended. I boarded it quickly. Dr. Tweedle climbed on after me, but remained silent. Despite the depressing conversation, I couldn't help but be excited to see Josephina and Miguel. They would understand my situation with Marie. When the cloud came to a stop, we stepped off and walked toward the school. I could see fireworks in the sky above the Jelf Academy. I instantly began to feel better. As soon as the huge front doors creaked open, I heard loud laughter. I turned to face Dr. Tweedle in the entrance hall. Thank you so much, Dr. Tweedle. I really appreciate that you came to get me. It was my pleasure, Jane. The students are having a New Year's Eve party in the dining hall, if you'd like to join them. Dr. Tweedle replied. Thank you again. This will be the most special New Year of my life, I exclaimed. What greeted me when I entered was the pleasant shouts of laughter and music. Everywhere I turned, students were dancing and talking. The dining hall was packed. Some of the tables were pushed against the walls, leaving just enough room to sit at them. I looked for a familiar face, but it was overwhelmingly crowded. Suddenly, I heard my name. I turned toward the voice as Josephina rushed toward me, throwing her arms around me. Jane, I've missed you. I'm so glad you're back. I couldn't wait to see you. How was your Christmas? Was Marie awful to you? She was so enthusiastic that I couldn't help but forget about Marie's cruelness earlier in the evening. I've missed you too. I was so worried that I wasn't coming back, I replied. I prayed that you wouldn't be expelled. How was Christmas? You haven't said. There's so much to tell you. I don't know where to begin, I said breathlessly. It was just like Josephina to ask a million questions and expect an answer for them all at once. Come sit down. Miguel's already at a table. I know he'll want to hear about you too, she said, tugging on my hand. I followed her across the crowded room until we finally reached the table where Miguel was sitting. He smiled when I approached, and I sat down between the two of them. Hi, Jane. How are you? Miguel asked. I'm just glad to be back, I replied. Jane was going to tell us about her Christmas break, Josephina told Miguel. Yes, where do I begin? It was so awful. From the minute I arrived, I was put straight to work. I barely got any sleep. That's awful. I wish you could stand up for yourself, Josephina commented. Marie's been threatening to throw me out. This time, I don't think it's an empty threat. Just before I left, she threatened me again, I said. That's terrible. Is there any way you can get away from her? Miguel asked, concerned. No, I wouldn't have anywhere to go, and I'm too proud to become a burden to anyone, I answered. Why did she have you constantly cleaning? Was that her way of punishing you for being dismissed? Josephina asked, rapid fire. No, Marie wasn't told. Dr. Tweedle didn't think it would be wise. We just told her I was home early because it was a reward for my academic excellence. If Marie would have known it was because of trouble, I would have never been allowed to return, I responded. As soon as I paused for breath, Josephina was back to her questions. So, why did you have to clean so much? Josephina, I was getting to that, I laughed. I can't even pause to breathe because you're so impatient. Marie was throwing a huge Christmas party, and she wanted the house to be perfect before the guests arrived. Of course, Emily and Preston made my task more difficult. On top of that, I had to help Robert in the stables shoveling horse manure. Who's Robert? Josephina asked. You'd never mentioned him before. I didn't? Robert is my only friend at home. He's the stable boy Marie was given by one of Emily's suitors. He hasn't been working for her very long. Anyway, sometimes I'm sent out to work with him, and since he is about my age, we've become friends. He was separated from his family when he was very young, and he has been forced into a life of hard work. I feel very sorry for him. That's so sad. At least you have a friend at home, Miguel replied. It's a shame that Marie makes you do a man's work. I can't believe she makes you do that, Josephina exclaimed. It's not proper for her to make you work outside. It really doesn't matter. When no one is around, I use the quick complete charm to save my energy. Excuse me. Oh, Jane, you have to be careful not to get caught. Humans can't find out about what we are. You haven't told Robert, have you? Josephina asked worriedly. No, I haven't told Robert. I know the rules. I only use it when I'm sure no one will see me. If Marie ever saw me using any magic, she would certainly throw me out. I've been very careful, I replied. I'm just worried about you. The WASP could be anywhere. You could never tell which humans are members. I just wouldn't want any of Marie's servants to belong to that organization, Josephina wailed. Don't worry. I'm always cautious. Besides, you didn't let me tell you about the Christmas party. Josephina and Miguel leaned closer, becoming even more attentive. Robert and I had to serve drinks and food to the guests. I have to admit, everything was decorated beautifully, and all the guests were elegantly dressed. Emily made her grand entrance before dinner, and all the guests gravitated toward her. I didn't understand why this party was so important to Emily. She even took special preparations when getting ready. I was so nervous. I thought I was going to do something wrong, or that Emily would embarrass me in front of all the guests. Thankfully, Marie and Emily were too distracted and didn't pay much attention to me. After dinner, there was dancing and socializing. That was when Marie decided to make the big announcement. I was startled when Emily and a young man were called to the front of the room, and even more so when he got down on one knee and proposed to her. Josephina gasped and looked just as startled. "Your stepsister is going to be married?" she exclaimed. Yes, the Christmas party was Emily's engagement party as well. A year from now, in the spring, she will be married to Drake Doyle, one of the richest men Marie could find. Didn't you say she was mean and awful? Who would want to marry her? Miguel said. According to what I've heard, he is just like the rest of them. This wedding is going to be a nightmare, and if anything goes wrong, I'm going to be blamed for it. I can't even be happy that Emily will be moving out of the house. Somehow, I think that she will still visit and be there to punish me. Before I left, they were headed to Drake Doyle's mansion for a New Year's Eve party. Preston even went along, despite his childish nature. The strangest thing happened when they left. When I entered Preston's room to make sure he was dressed, he was playing with something on the floor. Then, he told me he had a present for me. He proceeded to drop a dead rat at my feet, which, after examination, it was obviously tortured to death. Disgust was mirrored in both the twins' eyes. Finally, Josephina spoke. How horrible! Why would he do such a thing? I'm almost ashamed to tell you our Christmas and how wonderful it was. I wish that you never had to return to that awful woman and her 2 demented children. Enough about me. After all, it's the new year, and I am back. Marie and her children are in the past, and I won't have to deal with them until next weekend. I would be happy to know how your holiday was, I suggested. We had a very good Christmas, Josephina replied. My parents brought both of us a small pet to keep here at the academy. I got a cactus cat, and she's so pretty. I named her Coco after the Peruvian cat god, which some of my Peruvian ancestors worshipped. At least, that's what my mom told me. What's a cactus cat? I asked. A cactus cat feeds off the juice of the cactus plant, and then their fur can become pointy like a cactus when they're angry. They originated in the North and South American deserts. Cactus cats become extremely loyal and protective of their owners. They make good pets for pixies, Josephina explained. I can't wait to see her. It's so nice that they allow us to keep pets here. What kind of pet did you get, Miguel? I asked. It's called a Guilingi. It looks just like a small black dog, Miguel said. I just named him Blackie. That's funny. When I was growing up, I had A black lab. Duh. Words. I had a black lab as a kid, and his name was Blackie. So. Well, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that you both had a splendid Christmas, I said sincerely. Other than that, we didn't do much over the holiday. We've missed you, Josephina said. Have you been practicing your predicting the future over the break? Miguel joked. No, I haven't had time for that. I have a feeling that Mr. Withermeyer will give us some kind of surprise quiz, since he likes to torment students. Jane's probably right. I'm horrible at his tests. But you've been able to complete everything he assigns, Jane, Josephina replied. I don't know how I managed to do it. It must be beginner's luck. I swear it must be from your mother. You're more like Rachel Mikowski than you think. Maybe even greater than. Josephina was interrupted. Greater than Rachel Mikowski? Well, that wouldn't be very hard. I will say that I'm very surprised to see you here, Jane. I spun around to see Betty Ann. She had on a party dress, decked out in pink lace, with her brown hair down below her shoulders. The dress had a deep V-neck, which made her bosom stand out. She looked very cheap for being so rich. I felt my rage building within me, but I had to stay calm, or else I'd be in trouble again. Betty Ann was probably trying to goad me into an argument, so that would happen. Betty Ann, I really don't see how we were talking to you, Miguel said in my defense. Well, I was just coming to congratulate Jane for fooling Dr. Tweedle and some of the government chairs. My father isn't duped by you, though. He knows exactly what you are. Betty Ann, I don't know what your obsession with Jane is, but every time I turn around, you're talking about her. It's a pity your life is so boring and unsubstantial that you have to talk about Jane just to have something to say, Josephina said. Betty Ann glared at Josephina, and I thought for a second that she was going to slap her. It upsets me that the Jelf Academy would allow such pixies into this establishment. Dr. Tweedle needs to take out the trash, Betty Ann replied nastily. Miguel was on his feet after Betty Ann stopped speaking, but I quickly reached out and grabbed his arm. Sit back down, Miguel. Let's be smart and not associate ourselves with the trash at this academy, I said. I could tell from Betty Ann's silence that she was dumbfounded. Soon after, I heard her stalking off to bother someone else. How can you be so calm when she insulted your mother again? Miguel asked. I wanted to shout at her for demeaning you. I'm not calm. I'm very angry, but I don't want to get in trouble because of her again. I've been working so hard, and I've just been given a second chance. I'm not going to get expelled because of Betty Ann. Ah, Stunt Papa, thank you for that host. I really appreciate that. Thank you. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm not going to stoop to her level with unladylike behavior. Someday, when she's no longer has friends, she'll wonder why, I replied. You're right, Jane, Josephina replied. Did you see the dress she had on? We laughed at Betty Ann's ridiculous outfit, and then helped ourselves to the buffet that had been set up on the side of the dining hall. We spent the rest of the morning listening to music and dancing. It was right before daybreak, on January 1st that we headed to our rooms. When Josephina and I reached our room, she smiled. "You're going to meet Coco. I hope she likes you." She placed her hand on the panel and the door swung open. Josephina entered slowly, and I followed her. Curled up on a big pillow was the most beautiful cat I'd ever seen. I wouldn't have been able to tell that she wasn't a normal cat if I hadn't already known. It wasn't until I got closer and saw that her dark fur seemed to shimmer green on the tips of her hair. When she heard us enter, she rose from the bed and ran to Josephina. Josephina bent down and petted her sleek fur. "Hello, Coco," Josephina giggled as she stood up. As I drew closer, Coco seemed to tense. All of a sudden, her hair stood up, becoming bright green and pointy like a cactus. I was sure it was just as sharp. "It's okay, Coco. This is Jane, my best friend and roommate. She isn't going to hurt me." Josephina soothed the cat. Coco seemed to have understood what Josephina said, and she calmed down. Coco's fur turned back to the gray color, and the spikes disappeared. She came towards me, and I bent down to let her smell my hand. She rubbed against me, and her fur was surprisingly soft, despite being sharp only a moment ago. "She's really beautiful," I told Josephina. I crossed to my side on my room and sat down on my bed. I didn't realize how much I had missed sleeping here until now. Coco climbed back into her cat bed, and Josephina scratched behind her ears. She purred in satisfaction. "It feels so good to be back here. It feels so normal. Like I belong in this world and not in the other one. Sometimes I feel like my life with Marie is a horror story, and the world of pixie magic is the real world," I said as I reclined on the bed. "This is your world, Jane, and you do belong here," Josephina replied. "Some people don't seem to think so, and humans would think I'm an abomination," I said solemnly. "Don't listen to what anyone else thinks, especially Betty Ann. You definitely belong here. Who cares if you're half human? You're one of the best pixies I've ever met," Josephina said, smiling. "Thanks, Josephina. You're the best friend I've ever had. I was very lucky to have met you." "I'm very lucky to have met you, too," she replied. I crawled under the covers, feeling exhausted, but happy. I did want to belong in the pixie world. I hope I will be able to prove it. And that takes us to the end of chapter 16. Oh boy. I hope you all enjoyed that. While you're doing the puzzle, I will do Stream Raiders. And again, this will be a very easy defeat. Myself, Aranel, and Gemma. Pew, pew, pew. And there it is. Done. Taken care of. So Aranel, you get Bomber Scrolls. Gemma, you get Musketeer Scrolls. Good job. Alright, so let me put that away. And now I'm going to expand the puzzle. So that we can see it a little bit better. Okay. So now let's just have a chill rest of our time here, huh? I'm gonna give my voice a bit of a break. I'm gonna see if I can help on this puzzle too, because I really enjoy the online puzzles, and it looks like y'all are doing a bang-up job so far. So let's see where we're at. Looks like we're pretty much done with the border, minus one piece that seeseems to be eluding us. So let me see if I can figure it out. Because I'm just like you guys. If the border's missing, it will drive me absolutely insane. Can't stand it when there's a piece missing. Let me look at the picture. It looks like, so we got the bottom of the boat, so it's either part boat, part water, maybe, from what I can tell. It's a little bit difficult to make out, but that's okay. We just gotta look for a piece that has a flat edge on the bottom. That's all we gotta do. Does anybody have anything planned for the weekend? Quite curious. Oh, is the border done? Did you find it? You did. Alright, good job. I didn't even realize. Now we just gotta figure out the rest. No big deal. Let's see, we got a lot of sky pieces, so I'm gonna see if I can help fill in some of the sky. Sometimes easier said than done. Nope. You don't go there. You don't go there. There we go. Found it. Nailing it. One piece at a time. You shall not defeat me. At least I hope not. I sometimes have a love-hate relationship with these puzzles. Because you put a piece in place and you're like, I'm sure it goes there. It has to go there. But it doesn't. So then you drive yourself absolutely bonkers trying to figure it out. Let's see. There. That little hole in the top left corner was bugging me, so I filled it. Haha. Oh. This hot tea is wonderful. It's soothing my throat like no one's business. But the problem is, I make kidney stones. And I am unfortunately really good at making kidney stones. And guess what drinking tea does? I'll give you 2 guesses, but I bet you can do it in one because you're a smart group. Do you go? Where do you go? No, you don't go there. I don't know where you go. You go there. And yes, if you were wondering, that was a rhetorical question because yes, they do produce kidney stones. Hey, look at that. We got the sky done. GG's. Let's see. There's quite a bit of water, so that's going to be interesting. You did a nice job on this right side. That bank looks pretty good. The water is going to be tricky just because there's so many different shades. It might be hard to figure it out. And you're like, yeah, we know. You don't need to tell us. What is that, the end of the... Oh, so that's gonna go like up here somewhere, I see. Because that is... It's like right under here. I wonder... So you've got the door. This is the beginning of the top of the dock, so I bet it's like right there. So if we can find these pieces, then we'll be in good shape. But... Oh, you know what? Does that... Yep, there we go. Click. Whoever found that piece that connects to the little boat shed there, good job. Let's see. There we go. I'm gonna try and move some of these scattered pieces that are like sitting underneath the puzzle and move them out of the way. That way they don't get lost in the shuffle. Because we'll need them sooner or later. Guys are doing great. Well done indeed. You know, bars have trivia nights where you have to answer questions quickly. Can you imagine if there was a team puzzle where every team was doing the same puzzle and you had to see who could do it the fastest? I don't think many people would attend that, but I still think it would be interesting. Just do like a 200-piece puzzle, maybe. Something like that. Nothing crazy that's gonna take years. Okay, I think I got all the straggler pieces that are hiding, so it should be good. I'm just saying, if a bar did that, I would go. I would be that guy. I would do it. And I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to admit that. There you are. Can you imagine if we were all just chilling around a big table doing this together, like in real life? That'd be amazing. Time for me to say goodnight. Thank you for another evening of reading. You are absolutely welcome, Hicks. I am so glad that you could join us. I'm so glad I could get through a couple of chapters too without killing myself. So, thank you for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And I hope you have a fantastic Friday as well. Let's see. It's not that one. I'm looking for a very specific piece. There you are. Gotcha. Oh boy, we're almost done. We are almost done. I love this song. Let's see. There's so many puzzle pieces flying in all at once. It's awesome. Let's see. Where do you go? Right there. Woo! Good job, everybody. Good job indeed. Well done. GG's. Peggy's Cove in Nova Scotia. Love it. Peggy, you have a lovely cove. Wait, that sounded weird. That could be taken very wrong. Alright, let me Jigsaw, goodbye. I believe it's like... Alright. Alright, good job everybody. Well done on that puzzle. And, you know, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. That was really necessary. I really needed it. I appreciate you all so much. I'm gonna find someone for us to go say hello to. How's that sound? Let me see who's on. Well, just the man I was speaking of. Mr. Carrington is on, and like I said, he is joining the USG. And we've, Gentle Fox is on as well, but we've raided him quite a few times, so let's go say hello to Mr. Carrington. Let me get his... What is he doing? He's playing Dragon Quest XI. Echoes of an Elusive Age, the definitive edition. I don't know what any of that means, but that's okay. I don't have to. That was fun. I'm glad you could do it with me. Okay, let me get my keyboard back here. Let me make sure I'm typing this in correctly. It looks like I am. Awesome. Okay. Thank you again so much for coming and hanging out with me. I hope the rest of your week goes by smoothly and wonderfully, and I hope I'll get to see you again on Sunday as we continue with Chapter 17. We are on page 214. We are not that far from the end, folks. The end is page 305, so we're not that far. I hope you have a great night. And remember, you can't change the world for everybody, but you can change someone's world. So go do that. Until then, I will see you next time.
But gameplay of the of the old